For the past 2 weeks, I've been seeing if Linux is a realistic alternative to macOS for all my creative work. Be it coding, photo and video editing, or 3D modeling and printing. Coding is something that Linux is obviously known for, but some of these other use cases were a huge question mark for me, and judging how viable it is in my own workflow has been a frustrating but rewarding experience. I've had to go through multiple machines and distros with a lot of trial and error to find something that would effectively work for me. And even now, there are still a lot of unknowns for me with a setup like this. I found things were a lot more nuanced than I expected, and I think if you're a Mac user who's been curious about doing something similar, my experience is likely going to answer some questions that you hadn't even thought to ask. I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Linux. It was the first operating system that got me curious about programming and how computers work, which was ultimately life-altering as I started a career in software development, but it's probably been a decade since I've touched it, and over the last year or so, it's something that I've wanted to pick up again. I really like the idea of moving to a platform that isn't controlled by a giant corporation and feels like it's more genuinely mine, or that it's not full of stuff that I don't need or I didn't ask for. The problem for me was not only have I forgotten most of what I knew about Linux, but a lot has changed in 10 years. My workflow is completely different. There are a ton of different chipsets and architectures out there, and even more choice for Linux distros. So the first thing that I wanted to do was narrow things down to a couple of distros that would work on the hardware that I've already got. I've got quite a few Macs here, but there really isn't any Linux support for Apple Silicon. There's something called Asahi Linux that runs on M-series chips, but doesn't seem very stable. So I wanted to stick with a PC laptop, and for that I've got two options here. One is super new that I just looked at and reviewed a couple of weeks back, which is this Asus ProArt Go Pro Edition PX13, and the other is a 2025 ROG G14, and I really wanted to use the PX13 for a couple of reasons. To start, it's got a Ryzen AI Max Plus 395 chipset with 128 gigs of RAM, so tons of power, and it's just a nice looking machine in my opinion. That was my starting point, and after a bunch of research, I decided my best option would be CachyOS, which was mostly based around performance. CachyOS has instruction sets that are tuned for modern CPUs like the Zen 5 and this Ryzen Max, which can make them more performant, and it's got its own custom kernel that is supposed to be more responsive while doing things like rendering in Blender. It also defaults to KDE Plasma for the user interface, which is super customizable and to me is the nicest looking Linux environment out there. Beyond that, I didn't really put much thought into things past that, which was probably a mistake. Things installed without a hitch, I could boot up fine where things generally behaved normally, but my first roadblock I came across was with my audio. This Go Pro Edition PX13 literally just came out, and without getting too technical, basically the way the audio works in here combined with how new this machine is means it doesn't have much support at the moment and needs more time for Linux to catch up, but was also running into some other issues. Bamboo Studio, which I use pretty much every other day, didn't want to install, and the more I looked into DaVinci Resolve with the PX13's hardware, the more it seemed like maybe this distro and laptop weren't the best choice for me. The G14, on the other hand, is more widely adopted, and looking at support for the apps that I wanted to use, a distro like Fedora seemed like it would make a lot more sense, but instead of just hopping into things right away, I took some time to plan things out, just to make sure that I could at least get most of my workflow going on here. The thing about the G14 is it has a dedicated NVIDIA GPU, and these are one of the most notorious pain points with Linux, and is where a lot of people give up. So not only did I want to make sure that I had good support here, but also that I went about it the right way so I didn't end up with a black screen. That resulted in a lot of time spent in the terminal, and I'll just say this now because it does come up a lot. If you're not comfortable in the terminal, Linux will test your patience. This GPU issue was the first of many visits for me, but once you have a distro on a bootable USB drive, you've got to go into your BIOS and make sure that you boot from USB and disable fast boot and secure boot. Disabling both of those is an important step for properly setting up the GPU, but from there, after I installed Fedora, I had to spend some time updating my system and enabling something called RPM Fusion, which allows you to install the correct NVIDIA drivers, and then I installed ASUS-specific tools to enable hybrid graphics control. Because this has both an integrated and dedicated GPU, this allows you to manage that more effectively. And from there, in terms of getting the actual OS working, things were pretty much good to go. My sound worked great, I got the full 120Hz refresh rate on my display, and the version of Fedora that I installed came pre-packaged with KDE Plasma as well, so just like CachyOS, I've got full control over the look and feel of everything here. You can even install macOS-like interfaces if you want, along with things like Mac-style emojis, but the next step was actually getting all my apps set up. Like I said before, this is another reason why I chose Fedora specifically. A Bamboo Studio seemed to work okay for a lot of people, and I made 100% sure apps like Resolve would work as well, although, again, it's not exactly as smooth as you might think. If you're using Mac or Windows, you're probably used to clicking on installers to install your apps and using them without a second thought, and while there are definitely a lot of apps like that for Linux, even apps like Resolve, who advertise Linux versions, do require a bit of work to get going. With Resolve specifically, there are a host of requirements that your OS may or may not have, and a lot of folks have had issues with. I found a helper tool that goes through and makes sure that you've got everything you need, but I ended up having to trace back through a GitHub issue and edit part of that tool's code myself to get it working, which honestly is not something that I expected to be doing. That being said, once I got through that, Resolve started up and hasn't felt any different than any other platforms. It's nice and snappy, I haven't come across any major issues, although I haven't tried adding plugins or complex workflows yet, but it generally feels quite usable, and as far as editing photos and images go, that one is a little more tricky. I use Affinity and Lightroom pretty much exclusively for that type of work, and neither of them have Linux support. With Lightroom, I basically use it to put my presets over my images and tweak things a little and export them, so nothing too crazy. I can easily do that with the web-based version, so I'm covered there, but Affinity is a little more complex, where I've got to use something called Wine that basically ports the Windows app to Linux, but that has worked surprisingly well. All the effects that I use transfer over just fine, and I can do pretty much everything that I can on the Windows and Mac versions, but I still had one thing that I needed to make sure of with any design work or with photo and video editing, and that was if what I was looking at was showing me accurate color. Different operating systems have different color profiles, and while the G14 has fantastic color accuracy on Windows, Linux was still a bit of an unknown for me. Like everything else here, I did have to find a third-party app to test everything out, but it picked up my colorimeter right away, where the results were fantastic, and speaking of hardware, pretty much everything that I've plugged in has worked without any issues, be it external SSDs, USB hubs, and even my audio interfaces. You will lose some features of the hardware if they're enabled through software, like on this Connect 2 interface, where the clip guard toggle can only be set in the Lewitt control center that's on Windows and Mac, but by and large, there are very few hiccups with that, or with wireless devices for that matter. I will say that with audio specifically, that's the one thing I've struggled with in terms of transferring over my workflow there. A lot of the plugins and tools that I use aren't natively offered on Linux, and Wine seems to be pretty buggy with audio tools. There are some native apps like Audacity, which is free, and some paid ones like Reaper that I could potentially use. And I think you can transfer over some VST plugins with something called Yawbridge, but that's something that I think I probably have to dig into a lot more. In contrast to that, one thing that has worked amazingly well is 3D work in Blender. Fedora has a much lower overhead than Windows, so there's generally more memory available with less background services running, which is reflected in benchmarks. Overall, you get about 5% better scores across the board over Windows, but with 3D work being heavily GPU driven, the 5070 Ti in here has been outstanding and can take full advantage of the CUDA cores, which has been incredibly stable. If I move over to CAD modeling, which is what I'm mostly doing with 3D these days, this is another area where I've had to make some adjustments. Autodesk Fusion, which is what I normally use, doesn't have Linux support, but I have been looking for an excuse to move to something else anyway, and one app that I've been dying to get into is called Plasticity, which has full Linux support. This is definitely going to take some learning and getting used to, but I can design and model things in here with precise dimensions and 3D print them just like I would in Fusion. And it is actually way cheaper than Fusion if you step up from the personal license. Moving those models into Bamboo Studio, I've had zero problems, where again, everything behaves the same as other operating systems. And the last thing that I think is worth mentioning that you'll likely care about if you're an Apple user are the ecosystem features. I use my phone with my Mac constantly for copy and pasting between devices and transferring files. And luckily, some of that functionality is built right into this version of Fedora running KDE Plasma with KDE Connect. On iOS specifically, I can download the KDE Connect app and pair it up with my laptop, and I can do both of those things with virtually no setup. With Android, you do get a lot more functionality like notification mirroring, sending SMS messages from your desktop, and you can even use your device as an external monitor, which is actually getting pretty close to matching a lot of Apple's own ecosystem features. In fact, I honestly didn't think that I would get as far as I did or be able to do this many things in Linux. Provided I can figure out some audio tools to work with, which is still a work in progress, and make some tweaks to my creative workflow, replacing Mac or Windows with Linux is a realistic option. You will have to put in a lot more work up front to get things working properly, and it's by no means as seamless as macOS. It's far from it, but if you're someone who wants to distance yourself from these big companies or take more ownership over your machine and your data, in most cases you can totally get there on here without sacrificing too much on experience. The real question for me moving forward is whether Linux gets to a place that's a little more friendly to people who aren't as technically inclined, or if the reverse happens, where all these new chips and architectures actually make it harder to provide a seamless experience, but that remains to be seen. I'm gonna keep hammering away on here and learning while I look at all the new Macs that were just announced, so stay tuned for all of that on the channel, but admittedly, I'm still pretty green to all of this, so if you've got anything that you would like to add here or how I can make this setup better, or if you've got any questions at all, drop those in the comments down below, but that's all I've got for you today. If you want to see more tech-related content or spend an evening destroying BIOS settings with me, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next upload.